we getting on, folks? Look, today didn't really go our way there today. We only sort of, compared to Kilbeggan, we only sort of kept tipping along more so than anything else. We had three winners, obviously. Look at Annie G, very impressive. Napa today, wing leader, 7-4, very, very nice price. I said it last night. It was a bit of a bargain. And Beret Rouge, the next best, drifted out to 2-1. So look at, although we didn't have as good a day as we did in Kilbeggan, we certainly didn't do too bad. On to Roscommon tomorrow. It's a very, very tricky card, and it's a very hard card to call. There's an awful lot of competitive racing, and sort of expect to see, I suppose, 3, 4, 5 horses going to the line for most of the races now tomorrow. It's going to be a good dog fight. It's going to be a good battle. It's going to be just good competitive racing overall. It definitely looks to be not necessarily the most talent-filled card, you could say, but definitely very well matched, very well weighted. It looks like the handicapper has a spot on, and expect to see an awful lot of tight finishes. First race off, the 1:15. Willie Mullins has an odds-on favourite in here, and I'm going to avoid him, and I'm going to explain why. Gibraltar, for me anyway, when he was on the flat, he looked like a horse that always appreciated soft ground or heavy ground, or just good ground seemed to be a little bit too quick for him. It just looked like he looks a bit of a tricky sort. The fact that he's a newcomer over hurdles as well, if it was anywhere bar Willie Mullins, definitely would raise a few question marks why it's odds on, but the fact that it's coming from Willie Mullins, you'd imagine that the horse is going to be well used to hurdles and well used to schooling and everything else like that. Looks like he's going to be thereabouts in the finish. I don't think he's going to win tomorrow. There is one horse that I'm looking at here, and it's a massive 25-1. For a trainer that doesn't taste too much success, for a jockey that hasn't tasted success in a few years now at this stage. But Jordan Canavan, a great friend of mine. Speak Now for Brendan Duke. Looks to be very, very interesting here, and let me tell you why. The last two runs definitely look to be very, very encouraging. I'll obviously look at the soft to heavy. More than likely didn't appreciate the ground. Once it started to dry out, then it put in an absolutely unbelievable performance when coming 6th of 19th behind Palace Rock, Boohin Boy, Nazine. His name is Mr. Devitt, Born to Rule, ahead of Ilmig for Jessica Harrington, very talented sort. It's had a couple of spins on the flat since, hasn't really done anything yet, but definitely wouldn't rule out a run over hurdles. Swift Sonnet, Little Mix Up, Baron Croft. It's just interesting. It doesn't look to be the most talented field in the. It doesn't look to be the most talent-filled field, you could say, and just leaves the opinion that something might come from the clouds and nab this short price favorite. Potentially this could be the one. Obviously, look at it, was ahead of Nakot Tabak as well, who had a very, very good season last year, just yet to get its head right for this year, although I just think it's very, very interesting. Obviously, look at owned by the Bulgers. Looks to be a very, very nice sort, very well bred, by vocalized out of here today. It's very, very nice. It's got a lovely national hunt pedigree, especially over this shorter trip, 1 mile 7. Don't see too many of those races in Ireland, but definitely looks to be a nice opportunity for it to come in the place. Look at it, it's a big price. Definitely, if you're going to be having a pop, have a pop each way. But the way this horse is going, the fact that cheek pieces have been added now, definitely looks like the improvement is going to come, and if it improves any way, shape, or form than it did the last day in Navan, it should be thereabouts in the finish. 25-1 looks to be overpriced. 150 then. It's another tricky card. I would generally be all over Galileo. He put in a very nice run in Ballinrobe the time before last. Last time out in Downpatrick, I think it was. Downpatrick, yeah, he was poor, and he was very poor. Didn't jump a hurdle, didn't look like he liked the conditions at all whatsoever. Looked like he was just, with all due respect, a flat horse thrown into National Hunt Company. I don't know. I definitely like the look of him, but there's another horse in here that I definitely do like that has a more National Hunt pedigree behind it. Is Sonny John, currently priced at 13-2, being well supported, opened up at 10-1, now into 13-2 for Dusty Sheehy and Philip Donovan. Definitely looks to be very, very interesting here when you look back at the start of last year when second behind Dicer Diamond, only a length and a quarter behind Dicer Diamond. Look at what that horse has gone out to turn out to be. Ahead of Aaron's Benefit, a winner, if I'm not mistaken, next time out. Winner next time out in Belliostown in a bumper, consecutively placed. Hasn't won a race since, but has been generally in the top 2 or top 3 in the finishing line overall, and that was 2 1/4 lengths ahead of that. If it puts up a run like that in this sort of field, this horse is going to take some serious stopping. And because I know the form of the trainer over the last couple of weeks wouldn't necessarily fill you with the most confidence, but I don't know. I just think on good ground, or on better ground than what he has been running on over the past couple of runs, I definitely think he's definitely in with a shot. Keep an eye on Joanna Yates as well. Put in a very, very decent run in Tipperary last time out. Just think that Joanna Yates would appreciate a little bit of a bit more juice in the ground. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't put you off backing her. She came flying home late in the day last time out against 2 fairly decent sorts. I'd be wary enough with the ground. I think it's drying out a little bit too quick for her. 225, sorry. Next race on the card, and this one here is going to hold a Napa today. It's very, very hard to look past Jack Holiday here at 5-2. When you look at the form he has over a Chasing Fence, the fact that he's been moved back down to Hurdle Company now again, and the fact that he is 17 pounds lower than what he would be over a Chasing Fence, for me, seals the deal for me. It seals the letter and nearly brings it to the post itself. I cannot see this horse being beaten, really and truly. It looks to be the one they all have to beat. Billy Gleeson, if I'm not mistaken, is son of John, claiming £4, has to... I know, look at the form of Jack Holiday as well, not from 6 over hurdles, wouldn't necessarily fill you with a heap of confidence, but the horse has found a new lease of life over Chasing Fence. I think if translating that form into Hurdle Company and into, with all due respect, as poor of company as this that he's facing here, it looks like he's going to be a runaway winner. I think 5-2 is a bit of an insult for him. Really and truly, it looks to be the horse they all have to beat. Moving on then to the 3 o'clock. And again, Willie Mullins is a sharp price favourite in here, ruinized, and I would be avoiding it like the plague, simply because it looks like it wants softer ground. I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced. The last win it had was Tremor, beating Western Cowboy, Don Diablo, Finian's Road, Presenting Lad, Lanju, Pistol Smoke. The only 3 in here, actually Galileo as well is another one that it beat. So the fact that it didn't really show its true colours next time out wouldn't necessarily fill me with the most of confidence. But like I said, Ruin Eyes looks like he needs a little bit more juice in the ground for me. Like the mare in the race before last, probably just wants a little bit more juice in the ground, like Joanna Yates in the second race. I don't know. It's just for me anyway. It looks like, and I hate going against Willie Mullins because he's so prolific as well. But I'm not convinced, and I'm not convinced that even money, if the horse is any value whatsoever. Enniskerry definitely has ground to suit. Should take plenty of stopping at 6-4. Looks to be the more worthy favourite for me. But Ferdia, for John Ryan and Philip Donovan claiming £7 for me is going to be the one I will be siding with, taking a little bit of a chance. But it's hard to argue the form of John Ryan and his stable so far this year. He's been an absolute revelation over the summer jumps. Generally gets winners every second day. It was a surprise winner last time out when 33-1 in Ballinrobe. It beat a few nice sources that have gone on to win again. Carla Martina put in a very, very nice run in Kilbeggan last time out for Norman Lee. Cullis Star again ran a very credible race in Kilbeggan next time out. G-Rex, very talented sort for Emmett Mullins. Python for Mick Winters won fairly convincingly there today. For me anyway, that form wouldn't necessarily stand up like a country mile, but I'd be more inclined to back something at that sort of value at 6-1 rather than going hell for leather at something at even money that, for me anyway, just wants a little bit more juice in the ground. 335 then. And I will be siding with the next best of the day. The only horse in here that has any sort of course form. If I'm not mistaken, I just going through this a quick spin round. I think it's the only horse with any sort of course form. It is Chasing Abbey for Gavin Cromwell and Connor Maxwell. Currently priced at 9-2. For me anyway, it's the next best of the day. We'll love good ground. We'll love Roscommon. Is a very prolific sort around Roscommon. It generally saves his best for around there. I think 9-2, not necessarily an insult considering it's such a competitive contest, but I think he should be a bit shorter than that, to be quite honest. I think 3-1, 4-1 even. 3-1, 7-2, 4-1 for me anyway. That's the way I'd be pricing it up. I just think he is the class above here, and the fact that he is a bit of a core specialist, it's going to be a very, very hard horse to stop. He was a very good third last time out in Clonmel behind Daldido for Mick Winters, and One Night More I Hope for Noel Glynn. Obviously, Noel Glynn's charge being consistently placed, but consistently frustrating as well. I just think it's very, very interesting here. The fact that they're coming back to Roscommon, just going to run through the form around Roscommon. They actually started the debut in 2018 behind Jaron Mee. Very, very talented sort. Next time out then, Roscommon 5th of 18 behind My Sister Sarah Villamora. Elusive Bell let the airs walk ahead of Sporting Stowaway. Is there anything in there that's any real consideration for screaming and shouting about? There's not. The next time out then, he won, beating Dunbar City Limits, the Abbey. Ask the boss man, what's your status? Packins Rock, very, very talented sort for Barry Murphy as well. Next time out then in Roscommon, 3rd of 12 behind Camino and Muta Dafek, ahead of Happy Lad, Sizing Malbay, a very talented mare. Nothing else in that lineup anyway that was worth screaming about. Next time out then, 2nd behind Bread and Butter, Dollar Value, Tiger 22, Sizing Malbay again. Clune Dara, very talented sort for John Ryan. nothing else in there. But the fact that it showed some sort of good form and some sort of form that it's coming close to the winning mark again, I definitely think Chase and Abbey is worth siding with. It's going to be my next best of the day. So we have a 5-2 and a 9-2 nap and next best. If we hold the same form as we did there today, that's definitely going to be more than enough to cover us over. 4-10, very, very tight contest. And this one here would have held my next best of the day, but it's just so open here between the top two in the market. Bold Enough and Ante. Ante tends to not necessarily throw the ties out of the pram because he's a very, very talented sword, but he just is prone to making mistakes and throwing the race away more so than actually being beaten by a better horse. Bold Enough put in a very, very nice run in Wexford last time out. Should appreciate good ground. Was a very good third in entry there last or the April festival behind Roland Ward, Compard, Leon Cavallo. Leon Cavallo actually ended up, no, he didn't end up, he actually hasn't run since, but I thought I heard the name Leon Cavallo mentioned there the other day. Red Force One, Native Fighter, this time next year, McMaestro. Nothing else really in there worth shouting about, a couple of 100-to-1 shots. Just look at, for me anyway, it looks to be Bold Enough. It looks to be his race to lose. And realistically, coming from the Henry de Bromhead team, Hugh Morgan on board claiming £5. To me, anyway, that's going to be the winning and losing of this race. I know, oh Lord, the same connections broke my heart there today with Abby Magic. She jumping all out to the right and everything else like that. If she could only jump straight, she'd win the race. But look at it is what it is. Hopefully, he'll be able to make I suppose short work of this field anyway, and Bold Enough should take all the beating. 445 going to be my patron pick of the day. I seen a horse in here at a fairly nice price. I cannot understand how it's such a big price, especially around Roscommon as well. Now, finally, then the last race of the day, and this one here is definitely very, very interesting for me. An each way play for me. Our man Flint for Luke Comer and Finney Maguire, a combination you don't necessarily see too often. When you do, you can generally tell that them two are going for a win here. And our man Flint, obviously owned by Luke Comer as well, currently priced at 8-1, is definitely well worth an each way play. Looks to be a fairly, I wouldn't say a fairly weak contest, but it's definitely open up for a bit of an each way play. Obviously, look at the Emma Mullins favourite in here, won last time out on good to yield and ground, being Naughty and Nice, Kilbarry Shanty, Francis Marion, Kingfisher Lane, Polo 10, Willie DeCoo, who was very disappointing last time out, and they're facing each other again. I can't see Willie DeCoo turning the form around with him, but you can't really write off Willie Mullins either. I just think the run our man Flint put in, going back to it there in Killarney, but behind Judicial Law, Morning Logic, Shandancer, Killimare, Miss Drussel, Katie's Fortune, Hewitt Reflects, What's My Name, Well P, Jade's Dream, Regal's Salesman, Margarita Baby, Power on Tulasa, and Baron Von Melas. I think that showed some sort of ability for winning a race of this standard. I don't think it's within I wouldn't say it's not within their rights to actually go for the win. Luke Homer's been in among the winners in closure recently enough. He's had 1 win from 7, so that is just quick thought up of in around 16-17%. I just think it's very interesting. The fact, look at, you don't see Finney Maguire riding for him too often. Patrick Mullins was on board this particular day. He's back on board. Willie's here, which maybe is a little bit interesting as well, but potentially look at, they just have Finney Maguire. Finney Maguire is obviously a very, very talented amateur as well. And they have the ability to get the job done, and 8-1 is definitely well within the rights to go for a bit of an each way play here. But look, I'm going to leave it there. Please make sure to keep liking, sharing, and subscribing. Look, we didn't have the same day as we did in Kilbeggan the day before last, but look, hopefully with the help of God, we'll be back on the road again. Roscommon is a bit of a hit and miss course for me, but I'm fairly confident tomorrow that we have it called fairly down the middle. Look, I'd be hoping enough for maybe two. If we could get the nap and the next best winning, that's good enough for me. With the help of maybe one or two of them big price each ways coming in for a bit of an each way place as well. But look, please make sure to keep liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you want to sign up to the Patreon service, I'll leave a link in the description below. It's €10 a month, but like I said, we haven't done the draw for the monthly giveaway yet, so you still have time to get your name in and get your name in the hat and everything else like that. But look, very, very best of luck tomorrow if you are going to be having a bet. And look, hopefully we'll be able to turn the form slightly around and get back to the way we were for Kilbeggan again. Thanks very much, folks.